Just yesterday, Mr. Elon Musk revealed the fact that the former top FBI lawyer, who then went on to work at Twitter, was actually secretly editing and even deleting the Twitter files that Elon Musk was trying to make public. However, in order to explain what's going on, let me take a step back and set the stage for you properly regarding this case. This right here is Mr. James Baker, the former general counsel over at the FBI. However, just like many officials within the intelligence community, well, Mr. James Baker left public office back in the year 2020 and began to work at some of the private centers of power here in America. Specifically, after leaving the FBI, Mr. Baker was hired as the Deputy General Counsel over at Twitter, meaning that after leaving the FBI at the height of the Crossfire Hurricane counter-investigation, well, Mr. James Baker moved on over to Twitter in order to become their second-in-command lawyer. And that was an interesting career move if you think about it. He went from being the top lawyer at the FBI to the second top lawyer over at Twitter. However, that was all in the past. That's because just 2 days ago, Mr. Elon Musk came out and he said that James Baker had actually been fired from the company due to concerns about his possible role in the suppression of information. Here's specifically what Elon Musk said when making this announcement public. Quote, "Mr. James Baker failed to smash the like button, and so we just had to let him go." Now, that was of course a joke. However, I would recommend that you smash that like button as well as that subscribe button in order to get this type of honest news content delivered directly into your YouTube feed every time we publish it. Now, getting back to what was actually said, here's what Elon Musk said when making the announcement that James Baker was no longer with the company. Quote, "In light of concerns about Baker's possible role in the suppression of information important to the public dialogue, he was exited from Twitter today." Now, what exactly is he referring to here? Well, just a few days earlier, Elon Musk, alongside a reporter named Mr. Matt Taibbi, they released the first batch of what they refer to as the Twitter files, internal communications from within the company showing how they were allegedly suppressing free speech on their platform. And just as an aside, if you'd like to get a deep dive analysis into what they have revealed thus far with these Twitter files, well, I'll throw that into the description box below, the first Twitter file installment. Regardless though, what was truly shocking was that despite the fact that Elon Musk, who of course is now the CEO of Twitter, wanted to make all these Twitter documents public, well, that turned out to be easier said than done, because forces within Twitter appear to be actively conspiring against it. Specifically, just 37 short minutes after Elon Musk made the announcement that the former FBI lawyer was fired, well, here's what Mr. Matt Taibbi, who is again the reporter working alongside Elon Musk and making these disclosures, here's what he said in a corresponding statement. Quote, "On Friday, the first installment of the Twitter files was published here. We expected to publish more over the weekend. Many wondered why there was a delay. We can now tell you part of the reason why. On Tuesday, Twitter Deputy General Counsel and former FBI General Counsel Jim Baker was fired. Among the reasons, vetting the first batch of Twitter files without knowledge of new management." That's right, allegedly without the knowledge of the new owner, meaning Mr. Elon Musk, the Twitter legal team, which appears to be a bit of a corollary to the administrative state within our own federal government, well, they were vetting and reviewing what could and couldn't be released to the public. Here's how Mr. Matt Taibbi continued his statement in regards to the firing of Mr. James Baker. Quote, "The process for producing the Twitter files involved delivery to two journalists, Barry Weiss and me, via a lawyer close to new management. However, after the initial batch, things became complicated. Over the weekend, while we both dealt with obstacles to new searches, it was Barry Weiss who discovered that the person in charge of releasing the files was someone named Jim. When she called to ask Jim's last name, the answer came back, Jim Baker. My jaw hit the floor, is what she said. The news that Baker was reviewing the Twitter files surprised everyone involved, to say the least. New Twitter chief Elon Musk acted quickly to quote-unquote exit Baker on Tuesday." And just to put this, you can say, discovery into proper context, well, let me read you a quick excerpt from a phenomenal article that was published in the New York Post just a few days ago, describing what Mr. James Baker was up to over at the FBI prior to joining Twitter. Here's what it says, quote, "Baker has been featured repeatedly in the Russian investigations launched by the Justice Department, including the hoax involving the Russian Alpha Bank. When Clinton campaign lawyer Michael Sussman wanted to plant the bizarre false claim of a secret communication channel between the Trump campaign and the Kremlin, James Baker was his go-to speed dial contact. Baker's name also appeared prominently in controversies related to the other Russian-related FBI allegations against Trump. He was effectively forced out due to his role and reportedly found himself under criminal investigation." And so you see, within the FBI, James Baker appeared to have been involved in multiple of these Russian collusion plots against President Trump. Keep that fact in mind when you hear about his role during the days leading up to the 2020 election within his new job in the legal department at Twitter. Here's how the article continues. Quote, after leaving the FBI, Twitter seemed eager to hire Baker as deputy general counsel. Ironically, Baker soon became involved in another alleged back channel with a presidential campaign. This time, it was Twitter that maintained the non-public channels with the Biden campaign and later the White House. Baker soon weighed in with the same signature bias that characterized the Russian investigation. It then goes on to explain that the decision to block the Hunter Biden laptop story, again, just a few days before the actual election, was pushed by Mr. Baker himself. In fact, after someone at Twitter questioned whether censoring the story was an ethical decision and whether they could honestly make that decision by being truthful, well, here's what Mr. Baker did. Quote, Baker quickly jumped in to support the censorship and said that it's reasonable for us to assume that they, meaning Hunter Biden, may have been hacked and that caution is warranted. Keep in mind that there was never any evidence that this material was hacked. Moreover, there was no evidence of Russian involvement in the laptop. However, Baker insisted that there was a reasonable assumption that Russians were behind another major scandal. Faced with a major scandal implicating Joe Biden in the corrupt selling of access to foreign figures, including some with foreign intelligence associations, Baker's natural default was to kill the story and stop others from sharing the allegations. And as we now know, well, that's exactly what happened. The story was suppressed in the days leading up to the 2020 election. And now Elon Musk is trying to get the truth about what happened out to the public. However, what appears to be happening behind the scenes is that Elon Musk ordered the Twitter files to be released. He was using one of his lawyers to get the job done, but the lawyer that he was using only had access to the files that James Baker allowed him to have access to. And it's also worth highlighting that whatever was hidden from the new Twitter management, well, it was actually hidden from you and me, the American people, because we are the intended recipients of the Twitter files. But it actually goes much deeper than that, because besides just vetting the information, well, it appears that Mr. James Baker might have also been secretly editing and even deleting the Twitter files. However, we'll get to that in a quick moment, right after I show you this beautiful coin. This right here is an American Walking Liberty 1-ounce gold coin. And typically, I order at least one of these from our sponsor, American Hartford Gold, every single month. The reason I do so is because, as you likely know, the inflation rate in this country is the highest that has been in, the last 40 years now. Everything like the price of food, the price of housing, the price of gas is absolutely going through the roof. And in fact, market experts like the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, he's not only predicting a recession, but he's even using words like unprecedented economic hurricane. And so listen, I absolutely do not give you any financial advice, but I would recommend that you do what I do, which is pick up the phone and call American Hartford Gold. Their super friendly staff can help you diversify your portfolio by either getting physical gold and physical silver delivered directly to your doorstep like I do, or deposited directly into your IRA and your 401k accounts. They make the entire process super simple. And actually, besides me, they have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau with quite literally thousands of satisfied clients around the country. And best of all, to our viewers, to the viewers of Facts Matter, they are currently throwing in $2,500 worth of free silver on your first qualifying order. So giving them a call is an absolute no-brainer. So pick up the phone and call 866-242-2352. That's 866-242-2352. Or text Roman to 65532. Their link will also be down in the description box below. And then let's head on back to the studio. Now, shortly after the first installment of these Twitter files were released to the public, the former CEO of Twitter, Mr. Jack Dorsey, he sent out this public message aimed at Elon Musk. Here's what it said, quote, if the goal is transparency, to build trust, why not just release everything without filter and let people judge for themselves, including all discussions around current and future actions. Make everything public now. Essentially, he was criticizing Elon Musk because he was releasing these Twitter files in installments and he was taking such a long time to actually do it. However, in response to that criticism, well, Elon Musk responded, and this is, in my opinion, the important part. He responded by saying this, quote, most important data was hidden from you too, and some may have been deleted, but everything we find will be released. Meaning that even what has already been released from these Twitter files is only the small part that was allowed to get past this internal filter within the company that was maintained by the FBI lawyer, Mr. James Baker, who himself was implicated in the suppression of free speech. And for that, he was fired from the company. And also, it appears that Mr. James Baker will soon have to appear before a Republican-controlled House Oversight Committee to explain his actions under oath. That's because just 2 days ago, House Republicans sent this letter right here, addressed to Mr. James Baker, requesting that he sit in to a congressional hearing. Here's specifically what part of this letter says. Quote, "We are investigating President Biden's involvement in his family's foreign business practices and international influence peddling schemes. You serve as Twitter's Deputy General Counsel and have been identified as a figure central to suppressing information regarding President Biden and his family prior to an American election. According to new information released by Twitter, you played a key advisory role in the decision to censor the story, meaning the Hunter Biden laptop story, while the Biden team directed Twitter to remove stories in the days leading up to the 2020 election. Twitter's decision was made without knowledge or approval of Twitter's then CEO, Jack Dorsey. Twitter's new CEO, Elon Musk, recently claimed that Twitter has been interfering in elections. The American people deserve to know why Twitter took down the Hunter Biden laptop story even when your colleagues were questioning the rationale for suppressing the story. Your testimony will provide the committee critical context regarding the Twitter censorship team's decision to prohibit users from sharing information about a presidential candidate." And so we'll just have to wait and see what happens in this regard once these congressional hearings begin sometime early next year. Until then, it also looks like over the next several weeks, we will be getting more and more data dumps from within Twitter showing exactly what was taking place behind the scenes, especially now that Mr. James Baker is out. If you'd like to dig deeper into everything that we've discussed thus far, I'll throw all my research notes down into the description box below so you can peruse them at your own leisure. And then lastly, I should mention that over on Epic TV, we just published a phenomenal episode of Crossroads wherein Josh does a deep dive into a case that's currently before the U.S. Supreme Court called Brunson versus Adams, which is a case with serious implications, given the fact that it's seeking to overturn the 2020 election. If you'd like to check out that awesome episode, as well as all the other spectacular content over on Epic TV, the link to it will be right there at the very top of the description box. I hope you check it out. And then, until next time, I'm your host, Roman from the Epic Times. Stay informed, and most importantly, stay free.